Bună dimineața, sunt foarte bucuros să fiu aici, dar acum s-a schimbat din românește pentru nu vorbesc foarte bine, okay? Thank you very much. It's really a honor to be here, and thank you for this opportunity to share with you our thoughts and our experiences. What I was thinking of doing in this very short statement is to state 3 points, basically. The first is why AI is making digitalization even more urgent than it was before. The second is actually what is the edge of Romania by being a latecomer. What are the advantages of that? And the third, what governments can do in order to support not only digitalization, but an atmosphere of innovation and creation of ecosystems of innovation. So the first, why AI is even making this more critical? Well, you know, if you remember in the past, we used computers to store data and to use it, okay? Then the internet came and we started exchanging information between computers and, you know, giving digital services. And making information more universal. Then social media and smartphones came and the clouds came, and this actually created an explosion of information and of services and of technologies that you can develop, and actually the world started digitalizing every aspect of life. Now AI is going to revolutionize even that. Why? Because it's going to do 3 things that we didn't have before. It's going to create basically a computerized system in which you can analyze data much better. You can explain, actually, instead of us putting information into the computer and asking tasks, the computer is going to explain to us how to do things. And the third thing is going to help us create. So if you remember in the past when the synthesizer was invented, so people thought, well, that's not real music. The musicians are doing music and synthesizers are something that is not real music. Well, it is real music because it helps creators to create music. So in the same way that synthesizers help us create music, AI is going to help us create everything. So being able to have a digital platform actually is essential if you want to do that, and those who don't have it are going to lag behind, of course, much more. Now, what is the edge of Romania? I think the fact that you are now doing your cloud tender and you are digitizing all your systems, it means that you are going to have newer infrastructure. If you remember, following the Second World War, Britain had its infrastructure almost intact, and Germany had the infrastructure destroyed. Well, when they had to build from scratch, they could do it faster and with the last updated version. But for those countries that already have the infrastructure, it's a problem to upgrade. And here you can have a situation in which you can upgrade and build much faster to include all the things that you need. Interoperability, for example, and other things. Now, why the government is critical? You know, in the past, the private sector told the government, move aside and let us work, deregulate. Suddenly now, in the age of AI, the companies are coming to the governments and say, please regulate, right? This is quite a change, don't you think? So first and foremost, the government needs to regulate, but they don't know how to do it. Now, in Israel, for example, we've been sitting together, you know, the Ministry of Justice, the Innovation Authority, and other governmental agencies, to try to see, first of all, how you create a framework to regulate AI. The first thing that we decided is that you have to set a set of before the regulations, you have to agree about the ethics of it. So like you have ethics in medicine, in the medical world, you have to have ethics in AI. And there are several principles that have been identified. We know that at the European Union and the European Parliament, these things are being discussed. So this is something that we will have to do together with all the like-minded countries. But actually, when we get to the agreement on ethics and regulations, we still have a great work for the government. And I mean about three things that governments can do. First of all, the government can do economic schemes, especially schemes of public-private sector partnership. What do I mean? What is happening, and this is a very gradual but very sure process that is happening, is that multinational technological companies are becoming much more powerful than states, right? And as a state, you have a challenge. You have still the responsibility, but you don't have the authority because you don't have the tools that are needed in order to advance your policy. So how can you promote the public services and the public institutions that you have by introducing into them innovation? So one thing, for example, that is happening, and I'm in discussion about this with the Polytechnic University, is to create a situation in which within a public university you can create private entities that can be in partnership with the university to create innovation in a way that people will have an additional incentive to create, and they can benefit and can get private benefit even while working at a public institution like a university. Another example is hospitals. In Israel, for example, we have a model. We want to keep the good doctors in the public system. So we allow a situation in which you can do R&D within the hospital to create a private company that will be in partnership with the hospital. And in this way, the government can allow people to stay in the government and to innovate and to increase the innovative services and digital services that they give. Another way in which the government can help is by creating financial schemes. For example, you want to be in a situation that you want to help startups. How can you help startups? Are you going to lean only on the European Union to give funds for startups? No, the government can create an innovation authority like we have in Israel. The former Minister of Innovation, Mr. Boudoucha, came to Israel to see what we are doing there. And there, at the Innovation Authority, the government can look, experts can look at what the startups are doing, where are the opportunities, and where we can enter with incentives in order to help the startups to create bigger companies, to scale up, and to do breakthroughs in a way in which your local partners will be able to someday either be bought by the big multinational companies or create multinational technological companies yourself. And in this realm, Israel has succeeded. We have something like 100 unicorns today. Some of them have grown up from startups to scale up or to bigger companies as a result of foreign investment, but some of them succeeded as a result of the government support. And the last point is the creation of ecosystems. What is an ecosystem in innovation? Is a situation in which the companies you want to promote are supported by all the players sitting in one place. It doesn't have to be a government initiative, but the government can support NGOs that are doing that. So in Israel, for example, we have an ecosystem in the automotive innovation system. We have an ecosystem on fintech, on health tech, green energy, etc. And there, in the ecosystem, you bring the banks, you bring the investors from abroad, you bring the regulators, you bring the academicians. So they conduct a communication through digital, in a digital way, but also in meetings. And in this way, the government can also support innovation, can support the introduction of AI, and all these processes that are very important. So if I have to sum up, I would say again, A, digitalization is very blessed, and it's good that it's happening here in Romania. I think that it's becoming much more critical in the AI era. Second is that Romania actually can earn from the fact that it's a latecomer if it does it with the most updated technology. And three, that there are at least two roles that the government has. One is to regulate, that's very important, but the second is to support the digitization and the innovation atmosphere by creating public and private partnerships, by creating financial schemes, and by creating these ecosystems I talked about before. And that's it. If you have any comment or question, I'm open.
Thank you very much. Dacă sunt una sau două întrebări din sală la acest moment? Okay, I will have some questions. The government's role is critical. You mentioned the government has to regulate, and we also have to have in mind ethics. But also, there's another component, cybersecurity. Can you tell us your thoughts?
Yeah, of course,
How can you ensure?
cyber has become, in the digital age, cyber has become a prerequisite. It's very important. Fortunately, here in Romania, you have a pretty robust cyber ecosystem. There are good government capabilities. There are startups. There are multinational companies that are developing here cyber software, including some Israeli companies that are working here and have Romanian developers. And the fact that Romania is going to host the European Center for Cybersecurity, I think it's only a testament to the robustness of Romania when it comes to cybersecurity. We are cooperating in this field. We are going to continue cooperating. And at the end of the day, when you want to create resilience, which is very important in this era that we're living, especially in the last year, I think that Romania is very well positioned to have a leading role in that field.
You mentioned the role of the government in creating public-private partnerships, ensuring financial schemes. Do you think this would be enough to stop the brain drain, or is there something else that we could do, Romania, to stop the young to leaving the country?
I think that there are many good things that the Romanian government is doing to limit brain drain. But we have to remember that at the end of the day, in addition to all these tools that the government can create, there are additional things that are not related to the business itself, but to the level of life, to the quality of life. So the fact that today Romania is implementing the PNRR scheme and is going to upgrade infrastructure and is going to upgrade services, I think it increases the chances that people will choose to stay in Romania, not just because they can work here, but also because they can enjoy a good quality of life. And I can tell you that Israelis love Romania, they invest in Romania, they believe in Romania, and that's why they're coming to invest here, not only in high-tech, but also in green energy, in other fields, because they enjoy here the safe environment and the fact that it's a good place to do business.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. One question. Imediat va aduce microfon.
Mulțumesc. Eu o să vorbesc în românește, dumneavoastră poate o să traduceți.
Sper să reușesc, dacă se poate scurt. Formulați întrebarea. You understand?
Da.
Okay.
Citeam nu de mult un articol în care firme izraeliene foarte pricepute în softuri, în softuri de spionaj, au vândut unor țări mai puțin prietene, în special țări musulmane, softuri de spionaj al telefoanelor politicienilor din Uniunea Europeană. Care a fost rolul etic al guvernului israelian în această tranzacție comercială de spionare a Uniunii Europene, a politicienilor din Uniunea Europeană?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Am înțeles românește. Okay. So thank you for the question. It's a very important question because when it comes to development of technology, ethics are crucial. Now, here, Israel, of course, has standards when it comes to exports, and our standards meet the American standards. We have, especially when it comes to defense systems, we are fully coordinated and have a dialogue with the Americans in this field, and when the end contracts are not respected, we open investigations about it. Now, of course, this whole issue of espionage on cell phones and other ways of surveillance are for the right reasons, being discussed in the European Union. It's very important to understand that these tools are very important to fight organized crime and to fight terrorism, but on the other hand, we have to respect human rights and not abuse these technologies. So your question points on a very important and critical element. And of course, in Israel, we have our own debates about that, about the use of the police on surveillance and how the legal system, including the court system, has to understand the technology in order to be able to regulate and to allow such surveillance only in cases that are permitted. You know, sometimes we have a challenge because the legal system is not acquainted with information that they can allow surveillance which goes much far away from what they meant in the beginning, because it's not just tapping the phone. When you have access to a cell phone of somebody, you can have access to much more, which in a way that hurts privacy. So the whole issue of how the court system allows in law-abiding countries that respect human rights and privacy, in which cases they allow it, is a very important question. And this is, of course, has to be not only dealt with by the government and the court system, but also, of course, supervised by the parliaments. And this is exactly what is happening in our country. I think this is also what is happening in Romania. But at the end of the day, we have to, as I said, the government has a responsibility to train the people in a way that they will understand what they have at hand, and they will be able to make decisions that respect the law. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador, for taking the time to being here today with us and for sharing your messages at Forumul România Digitală, ediția cincea. Thank you very much.